Sometimes when things go wrong, you can't blame life. Cause when you shot your shot, what was your aim like? What were you targeting? Cause if it ain't right, and you still go with it, then that is on you. It's on you, it's on you, it's on you.
What's going on, you guys? This is Romi and Sam, and you are listening to the Mindset Rebooted podcast.
And if you are a first-time listener, thank you so much for stopping by. Here on the Mindset Rebooted podcast, we like to have conversations that help us to elevate the way we think. And what that means is that we have old ways of thinking that have held us back in the past, and we like to take on new ways of thinking that help us to maximize our full potential and to become the best versions of ourselves.
So if you get any value from our podcast today, please make sure you like, share, subscribe. Help us help other people by sharing this.
Absolutely. And today we are going to be talking about learning from our pain and paying it forward. So a lot of us, we go through a lot of different things. We have a lot of different life experiences. Everybody feels pain at some point. And pain can be useful. Why? Because it can help teach us a lesson that we'll never forget. Why? Because we didn't like how those painful moments felt. Often though, we don't teach those lessons to other people. And so people end up making those same mistakes that we made when we clearly could have prevented that from happening. Some people may have stopped us from making certain mistakes that they may have already made. And what did they do when they did that? They paid it forward. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna bring up 3 different examples of how we've learned from our pain and we've paid it forward.
Nice. So, do you want me to start?
Oh, please,
Okay, I guess I'll start.
I'm sorry.
You're like, yeah. I was like, okay. So my pain, or the lesson that I want to share about, is about business. So for those of you who don't know, I do have a Latin dance events company where we pretty much do pop-up events, and we also do private gigs where we teach salsa bachata or provide entertainment for people. And the pain I had there is that we've had this company for 5 years, but we did not know how to make money. Like, we were spending our own money that we earned from our day job to be able to do this thing that we called our side business. But if it's a side business, the pain is that there's no money coming in. So that side business is technically not really being successful.
Right.
So just the other day, my younger sister actually hit me up because she saw I posted something about working with some ballet folklorico dancers. So that's your traditional Mexican ballet dancing. And she has a friend down in SoCal who's starting up her own group. And they're all experienced dancers from different other groups, but she wanted to start her own. And she started asking me like, hey, for the people that you work with, do you pay them, or are they doing it for free to get PR, public relations, to get more awareness in their community? And I was explaining to her that it really depends on how the negotiations work. And the lesson I was telling my younger sister was, when you are starting a new business, whether that's your side business or you want to go full time with it, that the biggest pain is that we don't have enough cash flow coming in that we could maybe live off of it if you want to go full time, or that it could just pay itself, meaning that you're not taking money out of your day job to be able to do this thing, which takes money, time, labor, and sweat. Right? So those are all the pains when you start something brand new. And so I was explaining to her that we need to identify 3 major things. The first thing is, what is the product that we have, or the skill that we have? In the dance world is, can you dance? If you can dance, what kind of dancing can you do? Right? When we talk about ballet folklorico, that is traditional Mexican ballet dancing, specific to that. So we need to know what that dance is and if we're competent in it. And the next part is, you have to make sales, right? You have to get money coming in. So do you know what your price points are? Do you know, if someone comes up to you, can you tell them this is how much it costs to work with us? And then the third part is promotion. How do you get in front of more people so that they are aware that you have these skills and that they could hire you for X amount? So it's all those 3 things that was the lesson that it's taken me 10 years to learn in my own industry. Because in my industry, I know dancing. I know how to tell people, hey, we're gonna be here, come out here or take these lessons. But we didn't know how to make enough money that we're not, in the red. We were always paying out of our pocket or giving up a lot of our time, where it wasn't really worth it in that aspect.
Gotcha.
I would say it's worth in the aspect of gaining experience. But when you're doing something for 5 years and you're always behind on money, it kind of gets hard for people to do it on a longer basis.
Right.
So the pain is there. Like, the pain is that you need to know how to promote yourself so that you could get more money.
Was there like any like aha moment like that you had where you were like, you know, obviously it took you 10 years, but like, was there any like defining moment that made you say, nah, we got to do things differently?
I wouldn't say there's a defining moment. I would say it's multiple moments that led up to that aha moment.
Gotcha.
And the multiple moments is that when you start something as a small business or a side hobby that you want to get big or legit, is you have a lot of people who want to be involved. They're down like, yeah, we believe in the mission, the vision that we got, let's do it. And so maybe the people I worked with 5 years ago are no longer there. And the reason why they're no longer there today is because we couldn't pay them.
Gotcha.
Right? And it's one of those things where a lot of people have these passion projects for dance, or performing arts, whether you're a musician, a singer, or a painter, or anything, is that we get into it because it's our passion. But then when we say we want to do it for our lifestyle, for our livelihood, we don't know how to actually make it happen, that we can still be doing it 5 years later.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. How does like somebody, I guess, like now based on your experience, how does somebody get to the point of, I guess, generating income off of it and stuff like that?
The first thing is you need to have legitimate skill. And I don't mean that you have to be at the highest level of professional skills. I just mean that you have to have skill that the average person will recognize as, this person is skilled in this where I am not.
Gotcha.
That's what I mean, that you need to have legitimate skill. And so because when a regular person identifies you as having a skill that they don't have, that creates value in their eyes, right? So when they identify that you have value in whatever it is that you do, we'll talk about dance, some of them will be like, okay, I want to see more of your value. And the way that manifests itself is in how you promote yourself. So do you go to other events? Do you perform maybe for free so that you can get in front of all these people? And then before you leave, you tell them, hey, actually you could hire me. Right? Because the biggest mistake I see a lot of new dancers, new performing artists, is that they'll come out, they have the skill, it's their life passion. They'll come out to do a free promo because they're like, well, I don't have that much business, so I need to pay my dues. But then they don't leverage that attention that they have into paying the bills.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense, because I've seen that happen a lot, and you know, people never make that transition. But that's good, man. You know, and for me personally, some of the woes that I've not necessarily experienced firsthand, but I've seen when I was a career counselor, when I was in the Navy, a lot of military members, they were transitioning and they just did not properly prepare for a transition. And the reason why I bring this up now is because, you know, I like to pay it forward to anybody who's currently serving, who's thinking about transitioning, and anybody who's actually out. A lot of veterans, they don't even know about certain programs, so I kind of put them on game. But let me just touch back on the prepping yourself for a transition. And this can go for anything in life, really, but specifically, this is when I was a career counselor in the Navy. A lot of people were saying, hey man, like I want to get out. My intention is I'm going to get out in like, you know, whatever, 4 months, 6 months at the end of my contract. And they didn't have a plan. They didn't know whether they were going to school. They didn't know whether they were gonna have a job lined up. They didn't know how they were going to live. They just knew, hey, this is not it for me anymore, and so I want to get out. And so some of the pain that I've noticed is that in lack of preparation, people will get out prematurely, or they just won't do the things necessary. And so when they finally do get out, you might see certain things on social media, such as like, hey, anybody know how I can get back in? I got out too early. You know, my life is in shambles. This and that is happening to me. And I've seen those posts repeatedly, right? And one of the best pieces of advice that was given to me that I share with others was by a former supervisor I had in the Navy. She said to me, hey, what you need to do is you need to work as though you're staying in, but you need to prep yourself as though you're getting out tomorrow. And that way, in whatever path you choose, you're gonna be fine. And I took that to heart because I knew that it was true. The thing I knew about the military was that, like in life in general, people have a false sense of security. They think that something is gonna continue to go on and be the thing that's gonna support them through a lot of things. and then something happens, maybe you get injured, maybe you get medically discharged, whatever the case is, something that happens that you did not expect to happen, and it completely throws you off. And now that you are forced to make a transition, you feel unprepared. And so some of the things that I would discuss with people while they were in, I was like, hey, you're getting free access to tuition while you're in. Let's take advantage of that. You don't even necessarily have to go to traditional four-year school. You can go to maybe like trade school, get some different skills, whatever it is. You can actually leverage certain programs to start certain businesses while you're in. Hey, you're getting this, you're already getting BAH. Let's talk about how we can properly budget. That way you can not put all your money towards expenses, and you can have a lot more money left for savings, so that when you transition, you're set up financially. Even if you don't have something right away when you leave, you at least have this pot of cash that will help, get you through some rainy days. These are different things that a lot of people didn't really do very well. And so their transition was poor. But my job was to be able to pay it forward. I've seen these experiences that people have had where they were struggling when they were out, and so I would share. And so now, being on the outside, I also help certain veterans who are out who didn't take advantage of certain programs while they were transitioning. But fortunately, there are still programs while they're out that they can take advantage of. It might take them a little bit more time, but nevertheless, they still are able to do certain things now. And so one thing that I've realized when it comes down to paying it forward is understand that your pain or your experience of pain or what you've witnessed, it really isn't meant to just be held by you. It's meant to be leveraged, so to speak, so that other people are not experiencing that same thing. So now I have a whole bunch of different veterans who are transitioning beautifully. And I get hit up all the time. I get people reaching out to me that I never even met because they're being referred, to me. And that's a beautiful thing, because it means that someone else has been helped. And that's really the goal when it comes down to paying it forward.
And the funny thing is, from your example, people are reaching out to you that you've never even met. Same for me. Like that example of my younger sister's friend wanting to know what's going on. It's like, as we pay it forward, we provide more value to other people, word spreads.
Yes.
And people identify we have additional value that we could spread out to other people. And I think that it's a interesting circle, because there's that, paying it forward to feel good, feel awesome, we're being good people, we're taking care of our neighbors, but also it actually also benefits us.
Yes, it does.
It benefits us in other ways besides the feeling good part. So for example, on my end, on the business aspect, if people are seeing me as an authority figure in how to advise them to start off their business so that they're on a right or faster track than me, right? Because again, it took me 10 years to learn about making money as an artist or as a dancer, and I could fast track that for you. Then you're gonna refer other people who wanna fast track themselves to me, and then I'm able to actually influence even more people, not just people who wanna enjoy dance, but dancers themselves and artists themselves, vice versa for you. You're able to help people who are not just veterans, but you're also people who are going into the military brand new are gonna look at you like, hey, you probably know a lot more than just, being in the military. You know how to prepare for the military, how to succeed going in, succeed while you're in, and succeed while I'm out.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And here's the other part too. When we learn from these mistakes and other experiences, we learn not to make those same mistakes twice.
Yes.
That's something that we really do learn from.
Well, actually, sorry to interrupt. I would say we learn not to make those mistakes twice if we really felt that pain from these lessons.
Yeah, that's
because I've had moments, again, it took me 10 years to really understand that I need to ask for money or tell people how they could hire me for all these PR stuff. And it was because it took 10 years, well, it took almost 10 years where I was like, I need money.
Yeah.
Like that. I had to feel that pain for me to realize I gotta let people know, hey, you could pay me, you could hire me.
Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes like there's this saying, you gotta get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah.
You just gotta get to that point, and only you will know when you're at that point. And until then, you won't necessarily take action. But hopefully, when people are sharing their experiences with you, you are open and willing to receive what they're saying, so that you can save years of, you know, heartache and trial. And so let's talk about some of the, you know, pains that we've learned from even on our podcast and how we've paid it forward.
Yeah, since having this podcast, like, because we talk a lot,
Right.
just off of this, you and I, we're having long-winded, like, I'm noticing I'm talking a lot before you even say something back to me, and vice versa, right?
Vice versa.
Obviously, we could talk. And when we talk, we tend to take positions that maybe in the future will bite us back in the ass. And I've had some of those already, or even during the recording, I backtrack. And in those moments of humility where I get humbled, it really taught me that, you know, it's not really beneficial to me to take a hard line stance, like where I back myself into a corner where it's either my way or the highway. There's no benefit to that. And that has been applied to me in the business world and in the personal world, because I don't know why, but I grew up thinking I have to take a hardline stance. Like ultimately, maybe it was all the, you know, the action movies where like my way or the highway, you know, like something like that, maybe. But when I learned that we don't have to take hardline stances, it gives us an easier way to converse and really work with each other. Because when I was taking hardline stances, again, my way or the highway, if you weren't going my way, I'm like, well, fuck you then. And then next thing I know, we have a bad relationship. You are still in the community around me where you're interacting with people I might communicate with, and then that might bite me in the ass later on. Right? So versus taking those hardline stances, just like, well, let me understand why you're taking the position you're taking, and then I'll explain to you why I have this position. Maybe we could find a way to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And you know, and actually work together. And it taught me not to take things personally. It just taught me to be more patient with what I want out of people, and understanding that, hey, what I want may not be what they want, or maybe we're talking about the same thing. Like, because you and I, we've had hours not recording where we're talking about the same exact thing, we had the same position on it, but we're arguing, and it's because we're trying to make each other agree to see it the exact same way we see it, but we're in agreement.
We're in agreement, yeah. You know, that's such a good point, and that happens so much in life. You know, just to piggyback off what you're saying, that's some of the lessons that I've learned in doing our podcast as well. I've learned to put things in proper context, right? You know, sometimes someone will take a different stance than you based on the different experiences that they have had personally. Like, that adds value in and of itself. That adds context, because someone may not be saying, hey, what I'm saying rings true for every situation. I'm just saying for the situations I've been in, the position I'm now taking, it's applicable to that. And I think that listeners, when you hear back, you should be able to also listen and understand, you know, what is this person talking about? What are some of their experiences? You know, different things that have influenced their position. And it doesn't mean that one person's position is automatically right. It just means that it may be true for whatever they're saying. And I think that for me, I've learned to understand that a little better just through our podcast. Hearing certain things that I've said in the past, listening back, I'm like, man, I don't even know if I fully agree with that. And then I listen back and I understand the place that I was in when I said it. And I'm like, okay, I see why I did that. And I see why I said that. I just don't necessarily fully agree now because I have a deeper understanding. So I also will say this on record: anything that I say today and anything that I've said yesterday, I don't want to put myself in that box, you know, and say that that's the exact position I'm going to take tomorrow. Specifically because tomorrow I may have a new experience, I may have a new understanding, right? Because when you get more information, you now have elevated your understanding, and so you move differently, you communicate differently. And so that's some of the things that I've learned just from this podcast alone, listening back to older episodes. Now with new understanding, I feel like, oh wow, I have a different position. Yeah,
and the thing about having a different position over time, you know, obviously we're learning as we grow, right? But it's also, I feel that a lot of what we do is based on core principles or core values. And if we stick to those core values, we may learn new information that changes our opinion on something, but they tend to still be in alignment with our core values. That's what I'm noticing too. Because like when I would take those hardline stances, I was taking them because my goal was to make someone or whoever I was talking with see my point of view, because my point of view I thought was to help us get better, help us grow more. And that's been my core values. Let's learn, let's grow more, business and personal. And I may have changed where I don't take hardline positions anymore, hardline positions, but I'm still in the same part of I want to grow. I want us to both grow. I want us to have more meaningful conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to be honest with you, like the whole taking hardline stances, I know when I've taken hardline stances, some of the things I've noticed when I've reflected, it's because I want to do things differently than maybe something I experienced when I was younger. Maybe like when I was younger, there were situations where no stance was taken at all. And you know, there's a saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So sometimes you just decide, no, this is the position I'm taking because that's it, I need to take something. Because a lot of times when we don't have a direction of where we want to go, we just stay stagnant. And so there's been times where I've taken a hard stance just to guide me to move some type of how, you know what I mean?
But that hard stance, it's still influenced by that core value, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then maybe that hard stance gets more flexible as you learn more of what's going on. And I think that's the biggest part. This episode's about taking our pains, learning from it, and paying it forward. And so everything that we do, there's a core value that's applied to it. You, Sam, have your own core values. I have my own, and we try and stick to those, and we try and learn and grow from those core values.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's pretty much what I got for this.
Yeah, let's do a quick summary because we hit a lot of stuff.
We did.
So for me, what the example of the pain I had was starting a business or a side hustle and trying to understand how to actually make some money out of your passion. And the reminder is you need to have the skill that people need to recognize. You need to get in front of people, and then you have to tell people that they could pay you and they could hire you and work with you.
Yeah, and when I shared my example with veterans, the whole idea was that we need to learn from different mistakes that we've had, and we need to always have ourselves prepped and ready to make a transition because we never know what life is going to throw at us. So rather than just thinking that we have a sense of security, let's understand that everything is subject to change and prepare accordingly.
Perfect. That's all I got, dude. I think we gotta do a wrap up. How do we do a wrap up? Here, let me go smooth. All right, and back to you.
Oh, okay, back to me. Well, listen, if you got great value out of this episode today, please make sure you smash that subscribe button, give us 5 stars, leave us a review. Just continue to share this with somebody else so that they also can get great value out of this content. Don't forget to follow us on social media, Mindset Rebooted Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and make sure you follow me personally.
YouTube.
Oh, and YouTube.
We got videos now.
We got videos, and make sure you follow me. My handles are right there in the description, and same thing with Romi, okay? And so, yes, we enjoyed having this conversation with you, and until next time, Mindset Rebooted.
Sometimes when things go wrong, you can't blame life. Cause when you shot your shot, what was your aim like? What were you targeting? Cause if it ain't right, and you still go with it, then that is on you.